Is largely inaccessible. It's marshland. It's difficult to get any kind of apparatus at all out there, let alone fire engines and fire trucks.
There was a major flare-up this past weekend that threatened PG&E transmission lines, a decommissioned power plant in Pittsburgh, as well as homes. But there's no longer a risk to structures. The fire smolders. Residents downwind are breathing acrid smoke as abandoned railroad ties with creosote are consumed by flames.
We've tried, I would say, mightily to fight the fire from the air. In fact, in the last 2 days, by helicopter, we've put more than 400,000 gallons of water on the fire.
And those 400,000 gallons of water have had no impact on the fire. Peat fires can burn for months or even years. There are few options.
One of them that we're working really hard on is the possibility of flooding that entire area, several hundred acres.
Flooding is not commonly or easily done, but the area is surrounded by water. There are environmental and regulatory issues. A number of jurisdictions need to get on the same page, and soon. Margie Schaefer, KCBS.
And just ahead on KCBS.
I'm Jeffrey Schaub in the North Bay. Is discount gas inferior to the big name brands?
Your car will just run fine on either.
KCBS News Time 12:08. It's our first morning check of the roadways with Carolyn Burns. Good morning. How's it looking?
Hey, well, we start off in that Oakland area. Things are kind of quieting down just a little bit. Westbound 580 right after Highway 13. We had an earlier two-car crash there. Well, that has been cleared, so no problems to report as far as drivers having problems getting by there. Also in Richmond, eastbound 80 before McDonald Avenue, there was a large tire in the right-hand lane. The car it belonged to is now on the right-hand shoulder. Now CHP is there to help. They're just waiting for a tow truck to arrive. You'll see all of it there. The car does have its flashes on. And don't forget, in Marin County, high tides again, causing that northbound 101 off-ramp to Highway 1 or Stinson Beach to be closed. That's because it's a lot of flooding that are covering the lanes. Your next traffic update is at 12:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Yeah, the King Tide flood advisory goes until 1 a.m. And I don't think you'll be able to see that full moon, that buck moon out there. Windy overnight with heavy coastal and bay fog, or you may be able to see it through the clouds. Lows in the 50s, turning sunny and breezy today after the morning overcast. Highs from 60s at the ocean, 70s around the bay, to the mid-80s inland. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
So we were trying to come up with a title for this podcast. Let's have a shorter name that's catchier. It kind of speaks to you. And my wife Gretchen says, "What about Hey Maine? Hey Maine, Hey Maine." So I gave in, just like I gave in when she wanted a cat. But I get to keep my subtitle, the Katie Maine Talks to Famous People podcast. So Hey Maine, the Katie Maine Talks to Famous People podcast. Get that wherever you get your podcasts. I think that's the tagline.
For the safety of students, families, and teachers, schools across our country are closing.
School closures can have significant and lasting consequences, particularly for vulnerable students. Students who may face hunger, homelessness, and even trauma.
That's where our organization, Communities in Schools, can help. For years, we've had caring adults inside schools, helping these students stay in school.
Now, we are taking our work beyond the school walls. Our caring adults are delivering meals, providing household supplies, connecting kids with online classrooms, and using technology to maintain the one-on-one relationships we know can transform the lives of students and their families.
Communities in Schools, going wherever we are needed, doing whatever it takes to empower students to succeed in school and in life.
To see how you can help kids succeed, visit communitiesinschools.org.
KCBS News Time 12:11. A woman held an armed standoff with sheriff's deputies in San Jose yesterday after police arrived to perform a welfare check. The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office says that deputies responded to Bel Air Avenue just before 10 a.m., where she was found sitting on a curb holding a loaded firearm and a knife. Deputies allege that the woman then waved the loaded firearm towards them multiple times. The crisis negotiation team was called in, but after exhausting all methods of de-escalation, deputies deployed a police dog, and she was immediately taken into custody. The woman was taken to a local hospital for an evaluation, and once she is released, she'll be transferred to the Santa Clara County Main Jail and faces several weapons charges, including assault with a deadly weapon, on a police officer. And even though gasoline prices have been dropping in recent days, they remain at historically high levels, and that has caused conscious motorists constantly searching for the best deals. But as KCBS's Jeffrey Schaub reports, sometimes the best prices aren't enough to get people to switch from their well-known brands.
Gustavo Mendoza is a landscaper, and he bleeds money on gasoline.
He spent $700 a week, 4 trucks.
Gustavo was filling up at a Petaluma Chevron. He says he always looks for a deal.
Do you search around for cheaper gas, like at those discount places?
I go to Arco. But even though an independent gas station across the road sells fuel 75 cents per gallon cheaper, he won't go there. A recent nationwide survey found that many drivers prefer big-name brands like Chevron, Shell, and Arco because they believe their products are superior. But Patrick DeHaan, an analyst with GasBuddy.com, says that's not entirely accurate.
There's very subtle differences between gasoline. Really, it all comes down to the additives and detergents in some gasoline, but the fuel at your neighborhood independent station is exactly the same base gasoline that some of the bigger, more well-known brands are selling.
Representatives for the big brand fuel retailers stand by their claims that so-called top-tier gasolines they sell are best for your engine. In Petaluma, Jeffrey Schaub, KCBS.
And the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, better known as the JROTC, is expected to be restored at Balboa, Galileo, and Mission High Schools in San Francisco next month after being eliminated earlier this year. KCBS's Liz St. John has that story.
School Superintendent Matt Wayne says JROTC is one of the most important programs in its high schools. Quincy Yu, a former district parent who has fought to keep the program in city schools for nearly 2 decades, is thankful for the superintendent's support.
JROTC is one of those programs that provides structure, guidance, leadership, and hands-on learning for our students.
The U.S. Army supports the program.
The Army usually pays 50% of the salary for all the instructors. It also pays for all of their supplies and materials. What the district provides is the other 50% of the salary plus the benefits.
JROTC has been active in city schools for more than 100 years. The program is also offered at Washington, Lincoln, and Lowell, where participation has been higher. Liz St. John, KCBS.
And coming up on KCBS, the Emmy nominations came out yesterday. The awards editor at Variety, Courtney Davis, discusses that in 5 minutes. KCBS News Time, 12:15. Both the Giants and the A's ended their games in double digits last night with hard-fought wins. The Giants beat the Diamondbacks in a shutout, 13-0. And the A's rallied hard to beat the Rangers in 12 innings, 14-7. Here's Kevin.
Tiger Woods is no doubt the biggest name in golf, and he is not down with the Saudi-backed Live Golf Tour. Woods speaking at his Tuesday press conference at St. Andrews the week of the British Open.
As far as the second part of your question about the players who have chosen to go to Live and to play there, I disagree with it.
Woods is disappointed with those named players who left the PGA Tour for the guaranteed money because he feels it lessens the desire to keep improving.
I think that what they've done is they've turned their back on what has allowed them to get to this position. Some players have never had a chance to even experience it. They've gone right from the amateur ranks right into that organization. And never really get a chance to play out here and what it feels like to play a tour schedule or to play in some big events.
Woods says the 54-hole event is fine for the seniors, but not a true test. He does not see how playing on the Live Tour is good in the long term. That from Tiger Woods. At the sports desk, Kevin Radich, KCBS.
Now during Envision Toyota, Milpita's sizzling summer sales event, you can get as low as 4.9% APR financing on select new Toyotas, including Corollas and Camrys, RAV4s and Tacomas. Save even more
more with no money down on approved credit when you buy any new Toyota. Shop online anytime at EnvisionToyotaOfMilpitas.com or in person where the 880 freeway and the Great Mall Parkway meet. Call 855-973-2594 for details. For sizzling summer savings, the right decision is Envision Honda of Milpitas. With over 300 new cars arriving soon, reserve yours today. Now, get 1.9% financing on a new 2022 Honda Passport or Pilot, and special financing on other models too, including hybrids. For the right sizzling summer deals, it's Envision Honda of Milpitas. Call 855-996-2274 for details.
KCBS News Time 12:18. We will take a look at your 6-day forecast coming up after we connect with Carolyn Burns about the traffic.
Things are looking a little bit better around the Bay Area as far as the accidents go. Right now, basically some road work that could be getting in your way to slow you down. On the west end of the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, eastbound 580, you'll find the two right lanes there are closed for some bridge paving work. And right now we are seeing a little bit of traffic that's under the limit there to right around mid-span. Also, if you are in San Francisco trying to get over to the East Bay, well, eastbound 80 from the western span of the bridge through that Yerba Buena Island tunnel, you do have two left lanes there that are shut down. Also, it looks like in Marin County, the high tides again causing that northbound 101 off-ramp to Highway 1 or the Stinson Beach exit to be shut down there. The lanes are flooded. I'm also seeing a lot of water in the park and ride lot on the southbound side there as well. Your next traffic update is at 12:28 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Thank you, Carolyn. Looks like windy this morning with a heavy coastal and bay fog. Lows in the 50s. Turning sunny and breezy today after the morning overcast. Temperatures look a lot like they did yesterday. Highs from the 60s at the ocean, 70s around the bay to the mid-80s inland. And then sunny and warmer tomorrow through Saturday. Fog along the coast. Highs from the 60s to the low and mid-90s. A little bit cooler Sunday and Monday with highs from the 60s to the upper 80s. Right now, Oakland, you're partly cloudy and 60, 62 in Hayward. Santa Rosa 59, 60 in Napa with some drizzle happening, it says. And San Jose Airport 64. We're 61 degrees here on the Embarcadero in San Francisco. And just a special note that the king tide flood advisory goes until 1 a.m. When the low tides will start to roll in a little bit later. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on KCBS. Nominations for this year's Emmys came out yesterday, and this time, first time in recent memory, the announcement came without mention of which network platform has the most on the list. This move came as a disappointing one for powerhouses like Netflix and HBO, who usually lead the charge. For a closer look, we're joined live on KCBS Ring Central Newsline by Clayton Davis, awards editor at Variety.
It seems to me that the Academy just threw their arms up. They said, okay, you know what, there's too much chaos on the landscape. You guys figure it out. Was that the move?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when it comes to streaming platforms and networks, everybody wants to win. So what happens now is everything is blended together. You know, you have HBO, you also have HBO Max, which is streaming. How do you delineate from that? You know, and then we have Hulu, which is owned by Disney. So can Disney swing the ball collectively for Hulu, or do we just get Disney Plus? So rather than get into that fray, the TV Academy has opted to stay out of it, and actually I would say it's the best move that it could make.
But everybody's still counting them up in their head. I mean, it's not like people aren't keeping track of who got the most nominations.
Oh, absolutely. We did the count ourselves here at Variety. So, you know, collectively, HBO and HBO Max leads the tally with 140 nominations, and that's up 10 from last year. Netflix came in a very healthy second, you know, with 105. Really hammering home a lot of those tech noms and a lot of series nominations. Became the first streamer to get 3 of its shows nominated drama series 3 times. So, you know, they're not, you know, lacking in any area. And obviously Hulu, I think, pound for pound, had the best day, even though it had 58 nominations. I mean, 3 out of the 5 limited series categories, they're owning, and Only Murders in the Building had a very, very great day.
As well it should. I love that show. And looking at other shows that I think resonated with audiences, obviously Succession. We talk about it nonstop. It's very memeable. And White Lotus and Ted Lasso. What made those really stand out?
I mean, when you look at Succession, I mean, it broke a record today. 14 acting nominations, which is the most acting nominations for a series in Emmy history. It beats out Roots, which got 13 nominations back in 1977. So that was a great day for it. Looking at the White Lotus, White Lotus did very, very well today. I think from a journalist standpoint, and people who live for this, where we're disheartened is, we expanded the acting races to have, 6, 7, 8 nominations. And you look at the project categories for limited series, there were 14 available slots for actors. 8 went to White Lotus, 5 went to Dope Sick from Hulu, and the other went to Seth Rogen from Sam and Tommy. So, the TV Academy really needs to expand its talent, get more shows than ever, but I think that has allowed maybe some laziness to not watch as many shows as they should before they cast the ballot. Absolutely. I mean, listen, I wouldn't want to be Molly Shannon today. How bad does she feel, sitting as the only cast member much not nominated from White Lotus and everyone else was, and then now, competing for the main prize when it comes to Emmy night, they split votes, and does one of the Dope Sick people win now, or just a different than we would have thought, either Murray Bartlett or Jennifer Coolidge. Maybe it just goes to someone else entirely.
I have to bring up Andy Moore because Twitter's outraged.
Oh, This Is Us. I mean, it broke my heart into pieces. The final season of This Is Us. Sterling K.